Hi guys, just a few announcements before we start. The fire exits are there, and behind the screen. Can you make sure you've got all mobile phones turned off, please? No drinks on any of the arena because it shows up on the TV coverage. And usual things, best of order when people are down on the shots, keep quiet, but any time between shots, as much encouragement as possible. Hello and welcome to Blackpool for the first of our team semi-finals. Please welcome first into the arena the referee, Tanya Schmidt. And the first of the two teams, please give a huge welcome to Team India. And their opponents, Team England.
Welcome back everyone, and we're now watching the first men's semi-final from the World 8-Ball Pool Championships from 2017, being held at the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool, pitting England versus India. India finished their group top seeds, and India won their match yesterday to qualify for this semi-final. First on the table, we've got Carl Sutton for England versus Patel from India. They're just about to lag. And India have won the lag, so Highton will break first. Well, there's a bit of noise in the background there, wasn't there? So the drumming entrance.
Yeah, an unusual entrance, wasn't it? Good to have some atmosphere. We always get lots of team spirit for the team matches. Slight contrast in styles there. The heavy drumming from the Indians, the slightly more muted God Save the Queen from the English lads. Two very good teams and two very patriotic teams.
I thought he was going to carry on drumming so that the England team couldn't come in there for a second.
Well, yeah, I was thinking much the same. Now, I think this is a tournament that England really fancy. They've started an overwhelming number of the last 25 years of this tournament as the favourites, but it hasn't gone all their own way. They lost to Morocco a few years back, and then they lost to Australia in the final last year in what was seen as a slightly surprise result. So I think they'll be looking to regain their crown. I
think it's always a challenge for England because through the group stages you always fancy them to sort of come top or second. So even if they lose a match during the group stages, they don't really have that pressure. But now you get to the knockout stages, you know, if another team can suddenly get 2 or 3 frames ahead, it's pressure that they haven't encountered during the tournament. Whereas all the other teams, they've been battling it out for second to 6th place to qualify for the knockout stages, and it could have been anyone from 2nd to 9th place that gets through. So they're already used to pressure, but England, this is the first match really where they're now going to contest real pressure in a match.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, and indeed England did lose a match. They lost a surprise match to Mauritius in the group stages, who, with the best will in the world, were not one of the stronger teams coming into this, but they put up a good performance against the English guys.
That was the last match of the groups, wasn't it? Because they'd won 8 out of 8 and Mauritius had lost all 8 of theirs, and it came out surprise results. I think they're just looking for a free holiday to Mauritius, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Mauritius always seem to beat them, but...
Yes, looking for a rematch on the away leg. Always so much pressure on this, the fact that you only get to play one frame.
Even just one frame, the fact you're playing in a team, the pressure is just tenfold compared to a singles match. I know the singles event's the blue ribbon event, but for pure excitement, I think the team event always wins it.
Absolutely. You'll see from the enthusiasm.
Carl looks pretty comfortable there. He's hoping he's not going to be sat on his chair for the whole frame.
Of course, the difficulty for the England team, deciding who to put in the team. So many good people. So Carl Sutton up first, but hasn't so far had a look at the table. Hidden Patel for India, one of India's most experienced players. I mean, it's always an art form rather than a science, working out how to put your team order down. I think most teams probably try to lead off with a strong player or two.
Strong player, which they've both done.
I mean, any of the England team, frankly, are strong players. It would be hard to pick one out as being particularly better than the others.
If memory serves me right, Highton for India finished around 3rd or 4th in the overall averages through the group stages, so he qualified for the world team.
Yeah, he's been around a long time, experienced player. It's always nice to clear up in the first frame, but it's particularly important in this format where this is his only frame, so if he wishes to get one on the board, this is his opportunity. And it's nice to feel like you've contributed in these semi-final and final stages. Obviously the team result is primarily what everyone's concerned about, but individually everyone likes to think they're contributing to that result. So we see the referee just walking across our screen there, Tanya Smith, her first final in these televised stages.
Struck that well.
That's
very
a great
confidently
shot.
hit there.
So simple last yellow and then slightly delicate black. He's going to be...
He'd like to get straight behind the black. It's a lot easier going for a straight shot than like a blind angle. Not sure if it goes in the top pocket, but it's looking at both, because if at the end of the day, if he doesn't fancy the middle, if he goes for the top pocket and leaves it in the draw, then he's got that pocket covered with a red there near that pocket anyway. So it's whichever one he feels most comfortable with. It's a tight one in the middle, isn't it, if you look at that?
Yeah, from that angle, it's funny, isn't it? From the previous angle, it didn't look too bad, but that looks horrendously difficult. I don't think, well, he could try and move it, or he could drop behind it. Well, he's trying to drop behind it down to the bottom left-hand corner pocket. He was never going to be able to get very straight on this. I might
surprised by that shot.
Take it up top left.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that shot. Because he's not covering any balls.
No, and I mean, really...
He's looking down the cushion, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, this kind
rather
of
than
cut,
the double.
This kind of cut is hugely difficult. I don't know whether... I mean, I suppose he could have been playing for the double and just overdid it, but it looked like he was playing for this shot.
That's close.
Well, that's a very good shot.
That was.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily have done it like that, but you can't argue with him when the ball goes down.
So Carl didn't get to the table on that one, so he's going to have to wait for the second session to get his hand on the table.
Yeah, it's always frustrating, isn't it? I mean, he's been here long enough to know that that's the game, but you want to have a chance. And also, I mean, in that position, it would be so easy to have left that black over the corner pocket. every chance of drawing it, playing it like that. And Carl would have been delighted at the prospect of coming back to the table, but Patel held himself together well, did what was required. So, first break for England, it's Dave Fernandez. So we've already seen Dave on our live coverage today.
I'd say he's used to this table now, isn't he? Ooh.
Well, he didn't do that earlier.
Don't want to see.
No.
And the worst thing about that shot is Avi from India's got 2 visits with the balls nicely spread. So not the start England wanted. And again, that's what I was saying to you before. If they suddenly go 2-0 down in this one, it's actually a race to 8. So it's a very short format compared to the group stages, because in the group stages they play 3 sets, so it's first to 11. But in the semi-final and final stage, it's only 2 sets. So as soon as they reach 8, that's the game over. So any sort of lead of like 2-3 frames is massive in these team events in the TV stages.
Yeah, it's always been this way. It's because we only have one table in the televised stages, whereas there's a whole arena, so you can play on multiple tables. It would take too long to play the full 3 sets. Also, it adds a degree of pressure, which is good for the viewers, not necessarily always so good for the players. This is an ideal opportunity because not only has he got a easy-ish run out, but as you say, he's got the 2 shots in which to accomplish it.
He might have to use this second shot just to open up those 2 reds. I'm not sure they plant. It looks like they do there, but having looked at another angle, I'm not quite so sure, but we'll see now.
Yes, he's taking a careful look at it. It would obviously be much easier if they did plant, although it's...
Now, a lot of these boys, it might be their first time ever in this arena stage, so that's additional pressure as well.
Yes, I mean, it's actually a very experienced India team. Avi Singh has been around and played in some big matches as well. And looking down the team sheet, there's some big and familiar names. Patel Singh, Harjeet Singh, Nishant Barot, Lakvinder Birdie, Steve Singh. There'll be a lot of names there that will be familiar to people who play on or follow the UK tour. Lots of those guys ply their trade there.
So in the individual matches, every match sort of started in a bit of a tactical battle and get to the team event, and we start with a break and dish, don't we?
Yes, and if anything, you might have expected it to be the other way around.
The opposite way around, absolutely.
Of course, this particular frame was always going to be an attacking option because he had those 2 visits in the open table, so no reason not to be going for it.
He's still got 1 awkward red there to look at.
Yes, he has, and the last thing he wants to be doing, of course, is opening the table up and then handing it over to Dave. He'll be aware of just what a good player Dave is and the kind of form he's in. Contested the singles world semi-final earlier on, and although he lost by a narrow margin, gave a good account of himself in that match. So the call of 30 seconds there.
So Avi's going to have to make a decision here whether to carry on trying to go for the clearance, because there's still some challenges, or maybe take the pocket and have a bit of a tactical battle.
Yeah, he needs to play the shot quickly. He's running out of time. Wow.
He was going for the clearance. Unfortunately for the pot, he was a fair way away on that one.
Yes, I mean, it hasn't turned out too bad, but he hasn't got the pocket. Both of the yellows, the one on the right and the one at the bottom, goes past that red.
Difficult to see if there's a gap between that red and the bottom left-hand pocket to see if that yellow goes past. Doesn't look like it, does it?
No, I think that's we've seen some unlikely gaps today, but
yeah.
I think that one's a little bit too closed up. Well, that's not gone quite right. He's looking to get that pocket covered up, and he's kind of gone round the red and
yeah, he's
still
going
left
for
the
2 in
pocket
1
open.
shot there, wasn't he? Cover the pocket and try and get snooker, but looks like he's just missed out on both. Can't remember the last time I saw Dave break off and the white go flying off the table.
No, and I mean, it is ironic because he's actually, out of all the players on display here, he's the one that's played on this table most today. So, I mean, not that you need to have played on the table to know how to keep the ball on the playing surface, but
a little bit tentative there by Avi. Got a bit of a kick there, which is why he's asking to clean the white.
So the referee calling a timeout, which means that the 60-second time limit is paused while she cleans the cue ball.
I think he's going to try and make sure that he gets that pocket for good this time round on the bottom right-hand side to buy himself a bit of time in this frame.
Yeah, he needs to, but he's going to have to be careful. It's not, the balls aren't actually positioned perfectly for this shot. To leave it right over the pocket and not pot it, he's going to judge this.
Quite sure if he's done enough there. That red might squeeze off the cushion, off the yellow into the pocket and open it up for the other red.
So he's had a couple of opportunities. Avi Singh.
This is the start we were expecting in the team match.
Yeah, this is the kind of classic team frame, isn't it? There's still the option of attack or defence.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one he's going for there.
The problem is, if he goes to
maybe the overhead camera might be able to give us a better idea as to... There's definitely a gap there to get cushion off to the yellow, but whether it goes in, he can certainly take the pocket.
Yeah, and I think he's going to have to do that.
But obviously if he does that, he's going to have to open the pocket this side up, so...
Yeah, I don't think there's much choice but to open the pocket this side up, though, because I don't really see how he's going to cover the pocket in such a way that he doesn't just let Dave knock this yellow out.
Yellow out to the other side. Yeah. So I think he's forced into it, isn't he?
He's also, again, running a little bit of short on time. This is where the 60-second time limit can be difficult. There's a lot to think about.
Yeah, we don't get the benefit to see exactly how much time there is here. In the actual arena itself, there's a clock which goes up to a minute, so they can see exactly how much time there is.
So, does he play this in such a way that he tries to cover the pocket, or does he try and play it cushion yellow?
There we go, that's the clock that we're talking about. Should have that in the top right-hand corner or something, shouldn't we?
Well, it went in clean, yeah. It was deceptive even from the overhead angle. It didn't look like it went clean. It looked like it went, but he might have to graze off the yellow. Now,
he's got a couple of options here, hasn't he? Because he could put it into the middle left-hand pocket, but whether he can hold for the black, that's one option. He might have to sort of double it across to try and get on the black. That's the key. So he's going to have to work out. He's sort of committed to going for the clearance now.
Yeah, he's very much committed to going for the clearance now. Yeah, the cut in the middle, if you could just let go of the white, it's fine, but trying to hold for a shot at the black is not going to be straightforward.
The black only goes, as we look at it, now, the bottom right-hand pocket.
Yeah, you feel like the double might be the easier way of getting position. Oh, he's missed that by a country mile.
Yeah, he's focusing too much on kissing the black into a potable position that he sacrificed the angle for the double.
I mean, this is pretty much the end of the frame, isn't it? He's tied the red up, left Dave in amongst them. I mean, Dave's got the...
Dave could go for a little snooker here if he wanted to.
Yeah, he's under no pressure to go for anything quickly if he doesn't want to, but...
You tend to find that playing a frame individually or for a team, you play it in two different ways, because now you're playing for your teammates as well as yourself.
Yeah, you feel he's more likely to go for the defensive
option.
Exactly
done that. In the singles match earlier on, I think he probably would have gone for the clearance on that one.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason you would go straight for the clearance is just because every time you leave your opponent a shot, something can happen. But I think this particular position, I mean, unless he literally was to sort of run up behind this red graze it off the cushion and end up tight, it's hard to see him doing much damage. He's
Absolutely.
He's not going to fluke the red from where it is. So the choice of you either play it gently and hope to kind of fluke a snooker, or you play it hard and hope to fluke something else.
And this again is where playing on 8-foot tables makes a slight difference, because the angles always work slightly different. It's a bigger table than what we're normally used to.
You can see this is not the most straightforward angle, is it?
Oh, totally got that wrong.
Yeah, didn't have a lot of space there, but that's pretty bad. Well, I mean, I suppose if you're going to leave him anywhere, that's not as bad as it might be, but it's not great.
No, but Avi won't be coming back to the table in this frame.
No, 2 shots will be enough to seal it. Slightly frustrating this for Avi, because having had 2 shots at the beginning of the frame, he, I think, might have hoped to do a little bit more with it.
He's done well to move the black now, because the yellow on the right-hand side goes into the bottom right-hand pocket.
Yeah, he's got it all open now.
So he's only really got one slightly tricky yellow, and he's still got 2 visits.
Yeah, it's a good position. He doesn't really need the 2 visits, but it's just the sort of added insurance worry to miss either of them, any of them.
Which I think the Team England will be slightly relieved after having seen that white fly off the table.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it's not quite the same dynamic about getting a foothold in the match, but it's not so different. Like, getting a frame on the board is still important in a team match. Just looking at where he wants to play the penultimate yellow from. It's not going to be a difficult pot, but it's just a question of where he wanted the cue ball, so he can screw across for the one on the left-hand side. So just one good shot here. Should be able to leave himself fairly straight on this last yellow.
Probably a little bit too straight for his liking, but with 2 shots still on the black, it's really not a problem at all for him.
Yeah, it really isn't. If he just screws back sort of to near where he is now, or a little bit past. Oh, in fact, he's decided not to even take the chance.
He's got 2 shots, he's not going to take any risks. Just going to double it softly towards the left-hand middle. Make sure it doesn't quite reach. Set himself up beautifully for the second shot.
So it was a frame that he could easily have lost, but no problem in the end for Dave Fernandez. Ties the scores at 1 apiece.
We've now got Mike King for England coming up and Patel Singh for India coming up.
So it'll be Patel that has the break.
Yeah, because both these teams have got quite large squads, because it's a 7-a-side competition, and England have got 10 players and India have got 9. So there's always going to be some unlucky players that sort of start the match on the reserves bench. And for England, we've got Gavin Lomax and Aaron Davies. And for India, we've got Lakesh Badan and Videsh Sabwal.
Yes, and in fact, we've also got Rob Warren, who's kind of on the bench, so that he's provisionally on our team sheet as appearing in the second session. We've got, I don't know if that's necessarily confirmed, but we've got
is, yeah, because what happens is it's 2 sets of 7, but then if it goes to a decider,
8 are required.
You have to have an 8th player. So if a team only had 7 players, they would actually have to give up that frame. So really, for the final, to play all 15 frames, you have to come with a team of 8.
You do indeed. One thing I wasn't sure about is whether Rob is committed, from the way this team sheet is written, to playing that last frame, or whether they may play him earlier, because the problem...
I don't think they can, because it's already on the team sheet now, so I think they've decided to do it that way.
The problem with playing him last is it means he only gets to play if there's a deciding frame, and then it's a bit of a baptism of fire.
It is.
Although,
mind you, Carl Sutton hasn't played a shot yet, has he? So
no, very true. He was number 1 on the... Although Rob Warren is a pretty experienced player, so not exactly a baptism in that sense. Anyway, more immediately, it's Patel Singh breaking off in this frame.
He's put a yellow off the break.
It's a tough opponent, Patel Singh. He's not only a good potter, but a very wily competitor. He knows his way around the table.
Partap's now playing on the Seniors Tour, and he's done very well on the UK Seniors Tour recently, winning events.
Yes, and he's still playing on the main UK Tour as well. He's a dangerous opponent.
I think a lot of players get a new lease of life when they suddenly can start playing on the Seniors Tour. And not only do they do well on the Seniors Tour, but they suddenly improve their performance on the main tour as well.
Absolutely.
Because winning is a habit, no matter where you win.
Yes, and it's not exactly a game where you're likely to deteriorate too much. I think actually it's almost the enthusiasm for the game and the application to it that deteriorates rather than any physical characteristics. So it's gone slightly astray. Partab's knocked an extra yellow. He had a plant to the bottom left-hand corner pocket, but he's knocked a third yellow in front of it, which is now preventing the original plant. So this is why he's had to consider the safety shot, but he's not played that very well either, because Mike can see the top left red.
I think Partab was focusing just to make sure that the red on the bottom cushion was safe. So sacrificed a bit of opening for Mike to make sure that happened.
Yes, it's certainly not going to be a straightforward position from Mike. Mike, we had in the commentary box last night.
We did for the World Masters, didn't we?
We heard his explanation of how little he enjoys tactical frames. So
I think he's going to try and avoid a tactical frame as much as he possibly can, because Partab's pretty good on the tactical side.
Yeah, he certainly is. That was the right shot. He was trying to double that red down so that it covered this corner pocket. He's, as it happens, left it a fair way short. He's about 2 foot short, but Partab's still got to be careful, because that option will remain open until he gets the pocket properly covered. So that time, happy to leave Mike a shot at the red on the left-hand side of the table, because what he doesn't want is this red coming down bottom left. He doesn't really care about Mike hitting it up the table again. And it's not really in a position this time where he can double it like he tried to last time.
It's a shame we can't put a microphone on Mike now, just to so he can give us running commentary as to what he's thinking on each shot.
Absolutely, well, he's
This is very openly admitted yesterday during the commentary.
Yes.
He absolutely detests tactical battles.
Well, he's covered the middle pocket. I don't think that's... I'd say that's somewhat tongue-in-cheek. Clearly the purpose of that shot was the white.
Maybe he's decided that covering a pocket where there's no yellows is a tactical advantage.
Yes. The position of the white was the first and foremost in his mind. He hasn't got the white too safe, though, because the opponent's potted a ball straight away. Still a little bit to be done there, because that Partab was the one that tied this yellow and red up on the bottom cushion for good reason, but now the fact it's tied up is hampering him slightly. I don't think he'll be in a rush to win this frame, put it like that.
He's quite happy playing tactical, I think.
And I think
interesting. I don't know why he potted that there.
No.
So he does now. Just stopped in time. Oh, will that count? I think that stopped. So that probably has to go back up again. No?
I think it was quick enough that it was
areas. Because the ruling is, if the referee feels that the ball hasn't stopped moving, then it carries on. So she must have felt that that ball was still moving.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It did feel like it was really all part of the same shot. It was very close, and he was turning away. But no, that wasn't a good shot. It was a mistake to pot that ball. We saw in the last singles match that pocket is quite generous. We saw a few balls just slide in there. I think Partab thought as long as he clipped the jaw, there was no danger of it dropping.
Is Mike going to be tempted here to pot that red down the cushion? We know how attacking Mike is, so I think that's definitely going to be his first shot.
Yeah, well, I think it's on the basis.
If he can get position on that.
There's not too much else going on for him if he doesn't move.
He played that with an element of safety. So he was more happy to sacrifice the pot by making it harder, just to make sure he had a good white there. But yeah, Partab potted. That's why I was surprised he potted the first ball into the bottom left-hand pocket, because he was just giving himself less balls to play with. Yeah,
that was my reaction as well. I think he figured that ball wasn't doing that much, and that the proper cover of the bottom right was the most important thing. But in the end, he didn't quite get that. And actually now he's got himself under some pressure because all of these red balls go, so it's not like he's got a free shot here. He's got to try and make something happen or find a safety from somewhere, because it's going to be pretty hard not to leave a shot at a red ball. So in the end, forced to take on a fairly challenging cut.
It was a very thin cut, wasn't it? It's always difficult playing those shots. You're always more likely to hit it slightly thicker in the fear of giving 2 shots away.
And this is pretty much Mike's dream situation. The fact that he doesn't rate himself as a tactical player suggests that
it's opened up for him.
Definitely
now,
rates himself in this kind of frame. So.
Won't be overly happy with that. I don't think he meant it to go quite so far onto the cushion. But he's got his strut back now. Now that the table's nice and open, he's feeling a lot more
Yes, this is the kind of frame he likes to play. Fancies his chances. Now, he's got an option to open up the
But that red might go
black
past
and
the
red.
back into the middle anyway, so it's difficult to tell from here. Looks like it probably does. Because he had the perfect chance there to do that.
Yeah, and if he was playing to drop behind it, he's slightly overdone that.
He's in betwixt and between here.
Yes, it obviously does go. In that case, he certainly didn't need to move it. So back in good position now. I think this is exactly how we would have liked this frame to play out. Patel opens things up a bit and then hands him a table where what's required is a nice little finish, just a bit of potting.
Shout out to Ryan's mum, Sharon Shaw, in Channel Islands, who's enjoying the coverage here. He doesn't want to be straight here. I think he's got just enough of an angle.
Yes,
It's not much of
he
an
hasn't got a lot of angle, has
It's
he?
not much, is it?
No, does he take his medicine or does he try and really force this in?
He tried to force it. Oh, has he got away with it?
Well,
Oh, he has got away
yes,
with it.
he has got. The answer is he's got away with it. I mean, not quite in the same way we thought, but I think Patel would probably have been happy to see that ball drop. This has now left him a tricky situation.
And again, apart from Dave Fernandez, all these players are playing on this table for the first time, so it's just getting used to the pace of this table as well.
Yeah, they haven't really had very long to practice. They've had an hour's practice, but there are 10 of them.
Between 10 of them, absolutely. It's like 5 minutes each virtually, isn't it? On a table that might be playing at a different pace. Because these TV lights are very warm, so that normally speeds up the table a bit.
Yeah, and a few of the players have said how hot the arena is. It doesn't actually seem that hot if you just walk out there, but obviously when you're sitting there and you're under the pressure, everyone's staring at you. Everywhere always feels hotter.
What hasn't helped Mike either is he's put the other red relatively safe as well from where it was.
No, Patel with no real choice but to go for that. The problem was always going to be that he was going to leave Mike a shot at this red, and he was, in the process, he's going to leave him a half chance to get on the other one. It's not going to be easy to guarantee position. This ball's very close to the pocket. He can kind of get over that way, or he can play a double.
If he can do it and roll it into the corner pocket, even if it doesn't drop, he's got control of that pocket because that yellow is very close to it. Or he might be more tempted to go for a cross double. We'll just see what his preference is. We're just doubling it straight away here. This is a bold move. Cool, that's a very bold move. Again, got away with that one. Good white, but he's actually moved the other yellow across to the pocket that he has got covered.
Yeah,
so
I
he
mean,
played that with an element of safety, that he was always going to leave the white at the top there.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice because probably the more obvious way of playing that with an element of safety would be to play it slowly and make sure you covered the pocket, but this has actually turned out pretty well. Well, you can see what Patel was thinking there. He was trying to get that yellow resting against the red. I don't think he's
left
done
Mike
enough.
cut here. He's opted to bide his time at this stage. Move the red out into the open. It's feeling comfortable.
Yeah, the problem that Partab's repeatedly had is that he's just not getting left any kind of shot. He keeps having to kind of chase it with shots that aren't there. So
Mike is showing that he's got a little bit of tactical nous, hasn't he?
yes, he's playing his way into this. Well, limited options. His teammates congratulate him on that shot. I'm not sure he's done enough though.
I think that's more moral support than anything else.
Yes.
Got to keep the players confident. That's what you've got to do when you're on the sidelines.
Well, to be fair to him, what was he going to do there? His options weren't great. Well, this is interesting, Mike.
He's now taken the more positive approach to clearing up here.
He's controlled that well, as long as he left himself a shot. I mean, the cardinal sin there would have been not to have left a good shot at this red, but he was able to play it in such a way that he pretty much guaranteed having this shot in the middle. He's a good potter, of course, so never going to be a problem with that shot. So this is a frame that's seesawed around a bit. Partab hung on in there, but just couldn't quite get, after the early exchanges, he just left himself in a tricky position, handing the table back to Mike King, and eventually, after a few exchanges, he's able to get the job done. Takes his team ahead for the first time in the match. England now lead India by 2 frames to 1.
And we're now waiting for Shane Thompson to play against Harjeet Singh.
Yes, I mean, it's just a catalogue of high-quality players on both sides. Shane Thompson, top-rated player on the UK tour, and Harjeet Singh likewise. Nice overhead shot of the balls being set up. It's the man from England, Shane Thompson, who will be doing the honours with the break.
And I might be completely wrong here, but I think Harjeet is Partab's son. But I might stand corrected on that one. Probably get about 100 messages saying no. So let's see how Shane breaks on this table now. I'd be happy if he potted a ball.
Yeah, I mean,
he's going to go for reds. Does that red go in the middle pocket, or can he cut that red into the corner bag? Looks like that red goes in the middle, doesn't it?
Yes, as long as he can see it, which I think he can.
Which he can. He's jacking down on the ball a little bit. Oh. Always makes it a little bit harder when you jack up the cue a bit.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened there.
I think he'll feel he's been unlucky, and rightly so there. That was a pretty unlikely enough. He had slightly lost control of the white, but really to glance off the ball like that and end up in the pocket was pretty unlikely. So this is an unexpected bonus so quickly for Harjeet Singh. Not only is he back at the table, but 2 shots and ball in hand, both of which are very useful. The ball in hand here is actually particularly valuable because he can, as you can see, just line up perfectly on one of the difficult yellows straight off, so no need to waste a shot moving it. Proved to be a very steady player over the last few years, Harjeet Singh. sure quite what the delay is here. Player and the referee looking into the crowd.
Maybe the curtain needs to be shut, I don't know.
Yeah, it looked like some disturbance. I think perhaps somebody just coming in.
Maybe there's a streaker that just ran past.
In one of the doors, yes, yes, we're yet to have that. We said yesterday's match had everything, but that, in fairness, was not one of the things that happened. So, one visit used up. Harjeet Singh still has the one visit in hand. It's just a small interlude. We're just checking what this is all about. So, time for Harjeet Singh to regroup. The clock's running again. The game's back in progress. Fairly good looking opportunity this. With that last shot, he's got all the balls that were tied up opened up. Now, doesn't want that running too far. Now, that's not turned out quite right. He was just trying to use that to steady the white. He just had a bit too much speed on the white as it was moving around the table. Couldn't quite play it slowly enough. Needed to get into the white to avoid the first cannon on the right-hand side of the table, and then in the process has run into another ball on the left-hand side. So he's now left himself this testy little one up the cushion. Really needs this to go in. Doesn't want to be drawing this ball. He's played that with supreme confidence. So the option now to play the yellow on the left-hand side of the table down over the bottom left-hand corner pocket. How confident is he feeling? Probably the shot is to play it as something of a shot to nothing. Leave it over the pocket if it misses. Wow, he's played that very firmly. He wasn't playing that as a shot to nothing. Actually, there's no enormous benefit in the way he's played it like that. It wasn't like he was in prime position that he couldn't have got by just rolling it. That's a pretty disappointing way for that visit to end. That after a couple of good shots, that was a slightly heavy-handed one.
Looks like they might have sorted out the problem there. Apparently there's a leak that was going on one of the lights, and the lights were flickering, so they were a bit concerned about that.
Yes, I can understand that. And in fact, there's a lot of lights in this room. It's a sort of ballroom with a collection of many spotlights on the ceiling, so I can understand how that may have taken a moment to resolve. It's actually a very difficult room. Oh, there we are. We see the full size of the arena. I think actually that makes it the very wide camera angle almost makes the room look smaller than it is. It's actually a pretty big room when you see it with 16. You can fit 16 pool tables in for the early stages of this tournament.
It's a shame we can't show you guys a picture of that, because it's amazing. When you're there, you sort of think there's no way you can get 16 tables there.
Well, 16 tables and a kind of stage which is used as the top table from which to organise the tournament. This time we had a kind of arena for the streaming as well. So
that's worked out well for Shane there.
See words of encouragement from his teammates. So quite a steady England team for the last few years, although they've had a kind of production line of good new players. There's been a nucleus, the group of 7 that are starting out in this first session. Most of them have been around a while now.
Well, Steve Mills has said this week that he feels this is probably the strongest squad that he's had since he's been England manager, and he's now done the job for 7 years. Yes,
I mean, on paper it's hard to argue with that when you look at the team sheet.
Just got away with that.
Yeah, you can see that one over the left middle, which is important. I mean, the England team that everyone remembers, I suppose, is the one from the sort of early 2000s. Darren Appleton, Chris Melling, Mick Hill, Phil Harrison.
Full of stars, isn't it? Carl Morris.
Carl Morris.
Jason Twist.
2 of those gentlemen will be contesting the singles final tomorrow, so they've stood the test of time, Phil Harrison and Mick Hill. But this next generation has been an equally promising one.
Not exactly how he wants to play it, but he's always worried about snooping himself behind one of the yellows there. But now he's got a tricky black here, hasn't he?
Yeah, he can't
Key
see it to
moment
the
here.
corner, so
Again, he's got the option of a double or cut it into the middle bag, whichever one he prefers, really.
yeah, you can make a case for either. Bit annoying to leave yourself this shot when you had been in prime position a moment earlier and you thought you were just going to be leaving a roll in black. This is a black that could be missed. Nervous look on from Harjeet Singh. He'd dearly love to come back to the table. So the double it is, and the treble it is.
Oh, bonus.
Wow, not what Shane Thompson had in mind at the end of that frame. He was in control early on. But
You'd think he'd look happy after winning that like that, wouldn't you? But no. Inside he's happy.
yes. Holding it well at the moment, but all that matters is the ball's down. So disappointing end for Harjeet Singh.
Who's up next then?
So the England captain, Lee Kendall, here we saw contest unsuccessfully as it happened yesterday's Masters final. Put up a good account of himself though. The ultimate Mr. Experience and Mr. Dependable coming up next.
With Nishant Barot to break for India.
Yeah, so youth versus experience here. Although Nishant is regarded as a promising up-and-coming player, so certainly won't be overawed by this. It's always amazing when you see all these cues at the side of players having to try and figure out which one's there.
Seems to be about 20 cues there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's even more than I think a couple of the players have got separate breaking cues, so they're all lined up. Some confusion as to what's happening here, but it's Nishant to break.
So it's important now that India try and get a few wins under their belts because they started really well with the break and dish. And then Dave Fernandez breaking and white falling off the table. But since then, it's actually 3-1 to England now. So they've started to settle into this match.
Yeah, and as we were saying at the beginning, this is a short format, a race to 8 at this level that goes by pretty quickly.
You wouldn't want to be any worse than, say, 4-3 down after the first set, would you?
No, that'll be the goal here. I mean, India having had the opportunity to go 2-0 up and knowing really that if you're going to beat this England team, you've got to put on something special. It's no good just to turn up and play fairly well. That's not really going to cut it here. You really are going to have to take the game to them. You're just not going to be gifted that many opportunities. The whole England team is just so rock solid. You're going to be winning this. You're going to have to be doing it on your own merit.
Well, I've been predicting all week on the live stream that the final would actually just scratch straight in. Did that kick in or did that go straight in? Didn't quite see that.
No, I didn't quite see that, but the ball's down.
But the balls have split beautifully, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, that is an unbelievable split. 2 reds down.
Those reds are just waiting to be finished. But
Well,
Lee Kendall can't believe his luck there.
So I'm not sure quite how we're going to manage to apply the commentator's curse to Lee Kendall, but it's not easy to see how he's not clearing these up.
But Carl Sutton's thinking, why couldn't that happen to me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's the nature of this. It gives you a little indication as to the way the match has gone just to see the score sheet at the end, because one frame either way can be just a case of your opponent clearing up and you not having a shot, as it was for Carl Sutton. I don't think there's anyone in the world you'd rather have on the table for you in this kind of position than Lee Kendall. Ultimate reliability and clearing up from these kind of positions. The only thing it would be possible to do wrong would be to not get on this one on the right hand side. It is slightly guarded by the yellow. Plenty of space still, but
Yeah. All looks relatively simple here, doesn't it?
if this is straight and he can just run straight through, this is very straightforward indeed. Well, you'd prefer to leave it a bit straighter. You didn't need quite such a cut, but it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, just slightly harder to control the white now, isn't it? But he's still under control here.
Yes, I mean, the good thing as far as he's concerned is that he only needs to control the white to the extent of not literally sneakering himself. The actual position is going to be pretty simple on this last round. nice
Played it
control,
well,
as you'd expect. So just needs to pot this ball, apply some right-hand side, get the cue ball up and towards the middle of the table.
just got to get past those 2 yellows in the middle of the table there. It's the only thing he's got to work out.
Pretty big margin for error here. There's a big area. Although
even if he kisses the right hand,
that could be famous last words.
30 seconds.
Just a nice little touch on the black just to make sure it was even simpler. He's almost smiling before he's potted the ball.
So 4-1 to England.
I think that's probably the most costly break we've seen this tournament. That was the absolute textbook split, handing it over to your opponent.
We've now got Jack Popel breaking off for England against Luckvinder Birdie.
Well, lucky by name, as you can hear being shouted out. We'll see how lucky he is by nature. Well, first of all, the piece of luck he's going to need is to get a shot, because Jack Popel for England is going to be breaking.
England haven't had a breaking dish yet, though. It's only been Heighton for India that's managed that so far in the very first frame. And after the first set, I believe there's normally a small break because both team managers have to decide the order for the second set, because they can choose whatever order it is. So it may end up that all the players play the same opponents again, or may not.
Yeah, so there'll be the customary mid-session interval after 7, so we've got 2 more to come. So one decision for England manager Steve Mills will be whether to introduce any of the reserves.
I think past history he never has done, but doesn't mean he doesn't have to this time.
No, this match is a bit too short to be giving people experience to be nice, if you see what I mean. You've kind of got to just get the job done. And I mean, actually,
that's a dry break there. Jack not looking impressed there at all.
There's only one player on the England team without a lot of big match experience, which is Aaron Davies. The other 2 reserves, Rob Warren and Gavin Lomax, are vastly experienced, so whether or not they come in is almost slightly academic. They're both good players who will certainly step up if required, and they've been here and done it all. I don't think he's likely to be giving a debut at these stages to Aaron Davies, but depends how it goes. If they're a long way up, that might encourage him to.
I do believe that Aaron's probably he's used to be the world junior and under-23 champion in his time. So he's certainly got the pedigree for it.
Yeah, hasn't he just? I mean, anybody that gets into the England team, you know immediately how good they must be.
Now, we've seen Luckvinder on the live stream before, and he just uses one eye to queue up. He closes the other eye from what we can see, which I've never seen before with a player.
No, that's very unusual, isn't it? Well, I have to say, I've never seen that before.
Perfect view of that there, wasn't it? Very unusual. Because I remember once I had a problem with one of my eyes and I had to a patch on it. Then I had a league match like during that week. Could not pot a ball with a patch on one eye. Could not see anything.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, pool's a very 3D game. And it's the kind of game that good players just instinctively know that their 3D vision allows them to sight things. It's not like you sort of rationalise where you need to stand or where you need to aim. And I think without one eye, you're sort of left with a bit more thinking to do. You've got to. It's not so instinctive anymore. But obviously, it works for him. Yeah, this is very unusual indeed. It's like an unusual style as well, steering the ball in.
Body motion there to help the ball in there, wasn't there? There's lots of different action. I mean, if Aaron Davies does get a chance to play, you see, because most people queue under their chin, some people sometimes under one of their eyes, but Aaron, it seems to sort of queue up even more to the left of his eye, literally under his ear. And I've never seen anyone do that, but it clearly works well with all the titles that he's won.
Yeah, I mean, everyone finds things that work. When you see, like Vinda here playing in glasses and not particularly big glasses, some people find that's not a problem, and some people find it very difficult.
We don't see many Joe 90 glasses that Dennis Taylor used to wear back in the old days, do we?
No. Well, I play in normal glasses, and I've never seen why it would be an issue. But some people seem to look right over them. I've obviously found some way of doing it. I've always done it.
I think like Vinda would have preferred that to go in, but he's quite happy there because he has got control of that side of the table. Jack is one of the best tacticians of the England team, so he won't be too unhappy at this stage. He's just working out his options.
Yeah, he's still fairly young, but feels like he's been in the England team for a good number of years now, vastly experienced.
30 seconds.
I don't think you can read too much in from the body language. He quite often looks slightly pensive and quizzically at the balls as he's going around the table, but normally finds a solution for them in the end.
30 seconds.
The one thing about these arena matches, whilst there's a huge amount of pressure, there's not quite as much noise around with the spectators. Whereas when there's like lots of tables around, there's a lot more shouting by the teammates and everyone else.
Yeah, well, there's very often shouting for you play a match on two tables, so you can even have your own teammates shouting on the other table. Never mind the other teams in the room.
It suddenly becomes a bit more of a snooker environment, doesn't it, with the arena compared to a nine-ball English ball environment?
Yeah,
nine-ball environment.
Yeah, sometimes it suits people and sometimes it doesn't. There's actually something quite strange about getting down to play a shot and there being dead silence. Like you sometimes get that if you're maybe the last match playing in a tour event or in a team event, and a crowd's developed, and it tends to be the same kind of thing. Whereas when there's lots of tables, there's just a background level of noise all the time. It's always a very respectful atmosphere. I mean, this is actually a fairly quiet as team matches go, but even the very loud, boisterous ones between the likes of Scotland and Ireland, and we'll see some of that later on. They're always well behaved when the player's down on the shot, but in between, the noise is unbelievable. So the same issue that there's been the whole way through this clearance. There's a ball on the right-hand side of the table.
So he's looking at the double. So you're going to go for that now? I suppose at the end of the day he's got no option. It's very difficult for him to stop Lackvinder going for the clearance at this stage.
Yes, I mean, you feel he's really going to have to keep going with this now he's started with it, because, as you say, these yellows all seem to go. So. That's not really helped.
Yeah, I think there he was focusing so much on avoiding getting through the gap between the red and the cushion.
Yeah, it was a very tricky shot playing around the back of that red, and yeah, that's not turned out too good.
Because if he was going to go for the clearance, he probably should have gone for the double then. I mean, it wasn't easy, but at least he was on it, and he was guaranteed to be on one of the other three reds after that.
Yeah, I thought he might. There's something awkward about the angle. It's a bit hard to explain, but it didn't look a very... I mean, it actually was
double, was it?
No, I mean, it actually wasn't that bad. It was a sort of clear double into one pocket, but I don't know, there's just something about it that just didn't look very tempting. Feels like he's playing some kind of trick shot, isn't it? I mean, we all do that for a joke where you sight a ball and then you turn to your opponent, or you close both eyes, or just when you're messing around with friends. But doing this in a match where he suddenly closes one of his eyes as he's about to play just looks very unnatural somehow.
So he's in good shape here. Just drop this red in the top left-hand corner. Leave himself a nice little angle to pot the last red in the bottom right-hand corner and come back round to the back of the same pocket.
The yellow would probably be wise if he wishes to win the frame.
Did I say reds there? Okay, we'll go for yellows. Colourblind at times I am. I'll start commentating in French, I think, because at least then you won't know what mistakes I've made.
I don't know. GCSE French many moons ago.
Damn.
So just one more good shot required here. Simple pop, just needs to pay attention to what he's doing with the position.
Perfect.
I don't think you'd advocate this cue action if you were trying to teach somebody, but he's certainly got it down to an art form.
Makes this next frame massive now, isn't it? If they could just bring it back to 4-3 at the interval.
Yeah, it's just what India needed, and I think it's just what the match needed for the neutrals watching this. This is what you need to keep the match alive and to really get it lit up.
We've now got Ben Flack for England playing against Steve Singh from India, who helped me out on one of the commentaries early on in the week, with Steve Singh having the break. Steve Singh did mention to me before the match if I can give a big shout out to the Kismet bands, his brothers who are in the Kismet band, who are watching over in Peterborough, watching in spirit and electronically. So he's got a lot of fan base behind him to help him out in this match.
Well, he's got some vocal support behind him in the room.
I'm sure they'll be
plenty
hoping
more
that
down
he
the
comes
road
out with a nice breaking dish there.
Yeah, how often have we seen this? Ben Flack coming on late for England, pulling something out when it's needed.
Was that Steve trying to psych out Ben before?
Well, I was going to say, we've seen some economy between the players on the way into the arena. This is a new one when they're actually about to start the match. These teams, though, know each other well and have played a lot, both this week and over the last few years. So good to see the team spirit. So red ball potted.
Yellow balls to be nominated, I think.
Yes, I don't think the Reds are looking too tempting. Well, that's just that one, but that's, I think, enough to put him off it. So the last frame before the mid-session interval, will it be 5-2 to England or 4-3? All the England fans will obviously be hoping for the 3-frame lead, but from a neutral point of view, it'd be nice to see the match go the whole way.
Absolutely.
Tends to be an overwhelmingly English crowd in watching these matches, unsurprisingly, but there's always something sort of, well, either the plucky underdogs, not really so much here because India are a very good team as well, or some of the foreign teams that have come a long way. I think there's always a lot of people rooting for them. They just think it's a nice story, like when the Moroccan lads won a few years ago.
For me, that's been the best ever final, that was.
Yeah, they were just so happy. I mean, they were all going around backstage, meeting everyone, taking selfies with everyone. They were just delighted to be there.
The celebration afterwards was fantastic, wasn't it? I think they had to clear the room after that, clean up the room,
yes.
because there were still both the singles finals to be played after that.
Yeah, and it was a deserved victory as well. And not only did they play there, but some of them play well there.
They didn't miss a pot, did they? Every clearance they went for, they got.
They'd also put their time in. I mean, some of the Moroccan guys coming over playing on the tour, it's a long way to be coming for tour weekends, never mind for big events like this. So they'd paid their dues. Now, this is...
So he's slightly ran out of position now, Steve. He's working out what's going to happen to the white if he cuts this yellow into the corner bag.
Yes, I mean, I think he probably could.
Because if he can cut this in and then hold for the 2 yellows in the middle pocket, you're never quite sure how they're going to turn out these shots, do you? Exactly there.
Looks pretty unlucky. I was going to say, you can kind of judge a cannon, but you're not quite sure the white can always just slide off sideways like it's done.
He can see it, but he definitely can't pot this.
No, this is a problem because...
So that kiss didn't quite go to plan as he wanted to. That's always a danger with those shots.
Yeah, it was the previous couple of shots. He was just drifting further and further out of position, and then that was the one that eventually caught him out. It's not immediately obvious how he's going to leave this safe, because the position of the reds, so any fairly full contact on this yellow is clearly going to leave Ben in amongst the reds. Well, he's had a go at potting that, and I tell you, that's not far away.
Great effort. Because he would have left himself a slightly tricky plight in the middle, but he gave himself a shot there, didn't he?
Still wasn't going to be entirely straightforward, but yeah, I mean, he gave himself a chance, and that was definitely all he could do from where he was. Like, slightly disappointed, understandably, as he looks on. I mean, it's not the most appealing starter for Ben, but he's got a few options. Well, that's an interesting choice of shot, because we can see that there is a plant. I mean, it's far from straightforward, this, but...
Yeah. Not quite sure what he's trying to do there, to be honest with you. He's obviously saying that, Steve, go for the plant, you're not going to get it in, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's a sort of containing
I'd
shot.
quite fancy to get that in.
Throwing the gauntlet down. Well, I mean...
Because the other yellow should then move slightly to the left and be able to go into the...
It's a lowest percentage shot, but it's still... Do you want your opponent having any percentage shot, really?
30 seconds.
Perfect. Yes, I mean, it wasn't an easy start for Ben. It looked like he could see the red top left that's nearest the baulk line. Looked like the worst shots he could go for if he wanted to. I mean, it's one of those things that if you throw the gauntlet down and your opponent misses, you're left banging and then you clear up. But you sort of live and die by those decisions.
So the Kismet boys will be on the edge of their seats to see whether Steve can finish this off.
Yeah, no, it's all about the position here, and actually, with this ball being so close to the pocket...
Absolutely, it's always harder when the ball's right over the pocket, which is exactly what it is.
Now, he either leaves himself a long shot and doesn't try to get too clever, or if he tries to get close to this black, he's got to judge this.
He's played it well.
Yeah, it's a sensible, conservative shot. Hasn't tried to get too close. He's just guaranteed himself a shot at this. It's a simple enough black. It's been a little bit unusual how this frame has played out. He's needed this second opportunity, but he's gratefully taking it. Ooh. Oh, no, no, no. That's what you can't afford to do.
He sort of played that with an element of safety.
It's a bit tentative. I mean, it was like you...
If he just went down and potted it without worrying where the white was, I think he would have gone straight in. But
well, I mean, you can't be thinking about missing that ball, can you? It's like he was thinking, I'll cover the pocket if I miss it, but I mean, that's not the way to be thinking.
There's always the mentality, if you're suddenly thinking, well, I'll play it as a shot to nothing and leave it safe, in your mind, you're sort of accepting that it might miss. I think it would have been better just to knock it straight in, not worry where the white goes.
Yeah, it's just harder to judge at that pace as well, because any slight movement or slight sign on the cue ball is just enough to move it.
He's given Ben a very tough starter for 10, but...
Yeah, Ben will just be glad to be back at the table, although, yeah, it's not an easy starter by any means. Oh, what a great shot.
This is now a key moment in the match, isn't it? If he can finish these off and go into the interval at 5-2.
Oh, where's he gone? He's not even back in his seat, Steve. He's so disappointed he's had to leave the arena.
There he is. We found him.
I think he knows deep down that he's not going to be coming back to the table. He had a good shout there. Ben had a very difficult opening pot. He could very easily have missed that, but now that's down. I don't see where the miss is coming from. Well, there was two unusual shots. Ben played a shot that seemed a little bit risky to leave him in, and then Steve does all the hard work, and then this is the black.
Absolutely.
That's just horrible in one frame pool. I mean, if it's a longer match, you miss the black and you're pretty annoyed about it, but then there are other frames, whereas if that's his only frame of the match, which it could be.
Which it could be, isn't it?
He's played last in this session. If he's put on last in the next one, there's no guarantee that he'll be having another frame.
You can't see Benny missing from here, can you?
No, he's done this so many times before. Cleared up from these kind of positions for England. And it also, I mean, I have to say, I think 5-2 is a lead that, I might be wrong, but I can't really see India overhauling, whereas 4-3 was still anyone's game.
And England have made mistakes as well, haven't they? So it's not as if they've played flawless pool.
No, I mean, I think 4-3 would have been a pretty fair scoreline.
Yep.
5-2 flatters England slightly, although, I mean, what can they do? They've taken their chances when they've had them.
I think in the second set, if it goes 5-2, then India will be forced to top loads their best players at the beginning, and then hope that the other players can sort of pull them over the winning line. Whereas at 3-4, they've got more options.
Yeah, that's a good shot as long as it pulls
Has that
up.
gone too far? No, it's just stopped nicely.
Yeah, I mean, they've got decent strength in depth. I'm not sure what front loading would particularly look like with this team. There's no obviously weak links. I mean, here's Patel, by virtue of being the one that broke and cleared, sort of looks the best. He was the first one.
And throughout the whole tournament as well.
Yeah. But they've had some good players. This was a chance there for Steve Singh. You've got to feel for him. He'd done a lot of the hard work. He'd made the more difficult plant, so then miss that black is very disappointing. Ben Flack knocks the simplest of simple blacks in.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a 15-minute break now, I believe, and we'll be back as soon as the play restarts.
So, players back in the arena for the second half of this match. Loud support from both teams. Just to bring you up to date on the team news, Rob Warne substituting in for England as their 8th player. He's the only sub making an appearance, so Gavin Lomax and Aaron Davis stay on the bench. After Rob Warne, it will be the same 7 players you've seen already, although in a slightly different order. On the other side of the arena, Videsh Sabharwal coming in as their 8th man, but not going to be featuring until the deciding frame if it gets to that stage. So to start off, we'll be seeing the same 7 you've already seen. So in this 8th frame, it's Rob Warne for England, who's just broken, and he is against Harjeet Singh.
India need to get to a fast start now after that disappointing missing that final black to make it back to 4-3 in the first set. They need to get that out of their minds and start thinking positively now.
Yeah, there was a sense, seeing the England team in the break, that they were all pretty relaxed and saw the winning post not very far away. I think that last frame was a pretty decisive one. That black was such a disappointing one to miss. I mean, it wasn't unmissable, but for a player of his quality, it was not far off.
It's a lovely shot there by Rob Warne. Hitting the red cushion first onto the yellow and potting it.
Yeah, Rob Warne's a player that in the past we've often seen leading England out. He's played the first frame before in a few matches that we've seen in this arena. This time he's playing the first frame of the second session. Similar kind of equation though, wants to get out and get off to a good start. Very good break builder, so we'll be relishing this kind of opportunity. So generally in quite good position. The only slight complication here is he's just ended up with a white a bit too close to this yellow, so a little bit harder to apply the requisite spin to the cue ball. So you're having to get the cue really quite high up here, which makes an unmissable shot kind of missable. So no value in going for the aggressive option, just couldn't get to enough of the white to play position, so he's elected to cover the pocket.
I had a feeling they put Harjeet on first because he's been having a good tournament as well, and then the next on will be Heighton again because he'll have the break. So the fact he got a break and dish, I think they're giving him the option to try and do that 2 times.
Yes, I mean, I was saying it's a bit hard to pick their top 3 players, but they've led with Harjeet Singh, Hiten Patel and Partab Singh, who I think probably would be regarded as, well, certainly 3 of their top players, if not the 3 top players. It's an interesting conundrum that teams often have. We were talking about this earlier, we've seen this before, but Videsh Sabharwal, his first frame in the match will be the decider if he gets to play it.
But he's not going to be too upset with that because he's a team manager anyway, so I think he'd be quite happy if the team win before he plays.
Yeah,
not so happy, obviously, if the team loses before he plays, but he'll be up for the challenge.
And he'll certainly be happy if he gets to play, because given they're 5-2 down, that will mean that they've managed to get it back to 7 apiece. So.
And Steve Mills, for obvious reason, is a non-playing team manager, but he's done a fantastic job for the last 7 years.
Yeah, I think in a way there's a lot to be said for having non-playing managers, because then you don't have the conundrum of your own performance and working out whether you should be in the team or not. So that's
I think he only had a half a pocket to go for there. It's always tricky with that yellow saved by the red.
Yeah, it was a trickier pot than it perhaps looked, and he was trying to get position on the difficult yellow, which he hasn't quite done.
Only solace is the black, but it might go into the bottom middle pocket as we see it. It'll certainly definitely double in if he doesn't manage to open it up within a shot beforehand. That was a fair way out, that one.
Yes, that was that's one of his wild references, wasn't it?
But if you're going to do a wild shot like that, it's probably a good time now whilst that yellow's right there safe next to that red in the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, although we didn't expect him to miss it by that far, it wasn't the most straightforward shot. It wasn't like it was over the pocket at all.
I think you could see him being snookered here behind this yellow on the cushion.
Yeah, still fairly finely balanced this frame. I mean, I think England's still in the better position, but Harjeet may be able to gain the advantage
Played
here.
it well.
Yeah, those kind of delicate shots where you've got to hit the cushion still, so they're not that straightforward to play, those kind of snookers. It's not like the old days where you used to just be able to roll up to balls whenever you fancied.
Yeah, he's going to try and come off 2 cushions here and hit the red on the left-hand side as we see it. Oh, totally confused me there. That's a good shot.
Yes, it was a bit surprising when people are playing deliberate fouls.
A few commentaries on that one for getting that completely wrong there.
Yeah, you're not looking.
We need about 100 different camera angles to see exactly what he's doing there.
You're not really looking for somebody to play their opponent's ball, but often it's a tactically astute option. It turned out pretty well. I mean, he's got, and deliberately so, but he's got that yellow down near the pocket that he's got covered, so that's helpful.
He's going to try and get both these yellows out in the open in this first shot.
30 seconds.
He didn't hit that any harder, really, with the black heading towards the middle bag.
That never looks too clever. Well, now this is pretty good. If this ball pots, this is a presentable opportunity. Now, does it pot clean, or is he looking at putting it off the red?
It's a very tricky shot if it's off the red.
Yeah, the black's in the way, isn't it?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
I don't think you can see enough of that. I mean, he's
definitely looking off the red here.
He's done what he needed to in terms of opening the balls up. It's basically all about this shot now. If the red
goes in, it depends where the red goes as well, because it could mess up his 2 yellows.
Yeah, I think the red should go to the right of the 2 yellows, but this is difficult to judge. There's a bit of distance involved.
Oh, he's played it great. Lovely shot.
Very, very good shot. So that deliberate foul may not play to England's advantage. This is an important frame if India have got any aspirations of getting back into this match. They definitely don't want to be going 6-2 behind. If they could get off to a good start in this second session, that could be what they need to get the match going again. So Harjeet Singh has done the difficult stuff, needs to make sure he keeps control here. He's now got this shot into the top right corner. Fairly straightforward, but under pressure anything becomes missable. Not too much to do with the cue ball at least. Not too much to do with the cue ball. He elected actually to do quite a lot with the cue ball. Not sure that was strictly necessary. Although actually, I think in a way, it almost makes those kind of pots easier. Sometimes when you're being too tentative and just trying to roll them in, you end up not cueing them very well. I think actually playing them as a proper shot and cueing them firmly is sometimes a wiser option.
Yeah, looks like that one goes past. Just got to make sure he doesn't clip that yellow. Played it perfectly. Just the start India needed here.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a really good clearance. I know he had 2 shots when he came to the table, but it looked like he could need 4 or 5 shots to get the table sorted out. He got the 2 difficult balls out in the first one, then manufactured that combination shot off the red in the middle of the table. This is another example of the 8-foot table.
The 8-foot table, exactly. I mean, he's got this problem with the 7-foot table. He's pretty tall anyway.
Yeah, he's quite a tall lad. You wouldn't. I don't imagine he's ever used the rest on a pool table before. I don't think he's going to now, but it's not too far away from needing it.
Doesn't want to use the rest, does he?
No, he really doesn't.
Played it very well. Always worries me when people stretch over like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought to start with he might have been just proposing to drop it in, but he played a pretty big positional shot as well.
So India have started this set as they started the first set with a win.
And a good win as well. I mean, he really took that frame by the horns, didn't he? Went for it.
And next on for India is Highton, who got a break and dish in the first set. And he's playing against Dave Fernandez this time.
Yeah, what would he give for another break and dish? That would be very helpful for India's point of view of getting back into this match. Dave won his first frame, so that'll have settled him down. Well, in fact, most of the England team won their first frame, so...
Yeah. I think India have got that miss black out of their system now.
Yes, I mean, I suppose that's the one advantage with team, although it's sort of bad for the team. It's not any of these people that missed it, so at least they don't have the demons of that to contend with.
But the other thing that's different with this match compared to all the group matches is not only is it 2 sets instead of 3, but in the group matches they always play on 2 tables, and it's a completely different game playing on 2 tables. The momentum can change so much quicker, whereas in a 1-table format, it's a lot harder to get that momentum shift as you can do on a 2-table scenario.
I love the 1 table for the atmosphere, though. I find when you play on 2 tables, the team's attention is a bit more distracted between those things, and the more of you are playing, whereas this, everybody's just focused on that one.
Well, Lightning didn't strike twice there.
No, and to be honest,
break and dish, you got a dry break this time.
Yeah, I didn't really fancy him to. Like, for some reason, I think it was obvious why he'd been put on. Like, they're effectively saying, you broke and cleared last time, let's do the same. I just think that added pressure. So often you see a dry break the next time round.
Did he do a cut break the first time? I can't remember.
No, well, I wasn't sure he hadn't. That was pretty much, I think, the first person I can remember doing a cut break today.
Oh, that's come out beautifully.
Yeah, that could not have come out better.
Every single yellow goes in there. Okay, the black's gone near the cushion, but if he gets behind that, I fancy him to get that if he hasn't moved it beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, from a position where it all looked quite tied up, literally all of these
one
yellows
shot.
go now.
For a minute, I thought that was coming back out there.
Yes, I mean, happy to see that again.
He's overrun that a tad, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, luckily for him, because there's a few positional options still. It's not too much of a problem. He's able to take
can he
this
avoid
one.
the kiss on the red here? Yeah, he can. Nice and easy.
Yeah,
but again, all this has come from the previous shot where he slightly overran it.
Yeah, now this is a bit different because this one could go wrong. He's likely to cannon this red in the course of cutting the yellow bottom right.
Can you see the middle, the yellow into the middle bag there as well? Don't know. No, it looks like you might have 2 options here.
Yeah, it'd be a result actually if he's left that gap.
So you can play this with some left-hand side. That's a bonus, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it just? It's not a very big gap when you look at it like that.
That's a lovely kiss. Couldn't have asked for a nicer kiss there, could he?
Yeah, for a moment that didn't look like he was going to be left very much. If he just drifted past all of that, he could have been in trouble, but suddenly he's right back in position. So it's not to be the dream 2 from 2 for Hissen Patel, but it's going to be 2 from 2.
He's a bit of an angle here, hasn't
he? Yeah, I think he can.
So he's not going to be able to get behind the black. He's going to leave himself like a 3/4 black down the cushion.
Yeah, I think he can just about kill the pace enough. Yeah, as you
he's
say,
to leave the white around the blue spot here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to have a lot more angle than would have been ideal. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm hoping everyone that watches here has seen snooker before when I'm talking about brown spots, but apologies if you haven't.
The dead middle of the table, effectively.
Just Google snooker and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Nearly a little dance there by Dave Fernandez.
2 from 2 from Fernandez. Afford himself a smile as he goes back to his seat. Things starting to look a bit tricky now for India.
Yep, they've got that comfort again, haven't they, of the 3-frame cushion. So we've now got Carl Sutton, who did play in the first set, but all he did was act as a spectator like the rest of us because Highton broke and dished him. But this time he gets to break, so at least he's going to at least one shot against Patel.
Given him the break here just to make sure he does definitely get a shot.
So he's only got himself to blame if he doesn't get any more than one shot.
Yes. So close to the last chance saloon for India now. Going to need to win 5-1. Well, for a moment it looked like your comments might be coming through then. Just a reminder that we've got one more match coming up tonight, the second men's team semi-final between Scotland and Ireland. And then the full schedule of finals tomorrow at 11 o'clock, men's team final, 3 o'clock, ladies final, and then after that the men's final.
I think it might be 2 o'clock, the ladies final.
As I was saying that, I was feeling there was too big a gap, which is why I was hesitating.
But to make sure you don't miss any chances, go onto Facebook and look up for Beard Productions, because they always put little updates as to when they go live, and you'll get a notification straight away, so you won't miss any of the action in case you're at work or doing something else, because I appreciate Wednesdays midweek.
Yes, Wednesday at 11 o'clock. It's not necessarily going to be the easiest time to watch, but it's going to be a cracking match if you do have the opportunity.
And the reason like all the matches are reasonably early tomorrow, not in the evening, is because in the evening we've got the end of tournament banquet, which all the players and officials attend, and all the prize giving. So that's why they sort of try and get the matches finished by around 7 o'clock in the evening. Well, once Carl's got a hand on the table, he's dealt with these brilliantly, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Be very pleased to see that ball dropping off the break, but after that it's all been his own endeavour that's led to this. 7-3, you'd have to say they've got 1 foot in the final already.
In effect, if he clears these up, they've got 5 chances to win this match and get into the final.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they'll be able to sit back and enjoy the second semi-final.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to be on first, because then they can come and watch it if they want to, or go out for dinner.
Especially as the men's team final is the first thing tomorrow, so they're back on at 11 o'clock in the morning. So Steve Mills felt it really important to finish as first seeds, because that guaranteed them the 6 o'clock slot to play.
Yeah, well, you get what you deserve. They've worked hard in those group stages to achieve that first seed status.
Even tried to get that free holiday to Mauritius as well.
Yes, absolutely. Did all they needed to, and then lost that last match to Mauritius. Beautiful island, Mauritius. That would be a nice place to go for a holiday.
Lovely control there. That was the only slightly tricky shot left in the match, or in this particular frame. As you can see, he had to hit it pretty hard to actually get out up the table to see this red.
Yes, he did. That was a more difficult shot than it looked.
But now he's got a large area to get onto the black into the middle pocket.
Great control there from Carl Sutton. This black to the left middle to put England on the hill.
So after being broken dish in the first frame, he dishes out a breaking dish himself. Can't do more than that, really, can he?
Certainly can't. And Patel Singh, who gave a good account of himself, although he didn't win his first frame, doesn't get a shot. So
that's now 7-3 then. They're on the hill. And it's Shane Thompson who gets the first bite of the cherry against Nishant Barot, who's got the break.
So 5 top England players: Shane Thompson, Lee Kendall, Mike King, Jack Popel, Ben Flack. One of them needs to win a single frame And they will yet again be in the men's team final tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock.
And before the frame starts, un grand bonjour à Félix Vicente. J'espère que tu aimes bien ce que tu regardes pour l'instant, Félix. Et une grande dédicace pour le Portugal. Just saying a big shout to Portugal and Felix Vicente, who's the president of the Portuguese Federation. They played in the European Championships, didn't play in the Worlds. They had one lady who played in the Worlds, but they're going to the Nations Cup in Morocco, which we'll probably see an advert for soon. And they're definitely coming back to the European Championships in Malta next year in February.
Well, that gets a prize for the worst break of the tournament.
Yeah. Whether 4 balls hit the cushion or not, doesn't matter because the ball went in. He doesn't look too impressed with the referee there, to be honest. It can't be a foul break because a yellow ball went in.
Oh, I think that was the debate with the referee there. I mean, they didn't look racked brilliantly, but equally, the way he lost the white suggested he didn't exactly make a great contact with the front of the punch, did he?
It's amazing, isn't it? Because sometimes the balls spread massively and you don't get a ball in. This time, pathetic break, and the ball went straight in.
Flight, yeah, I know.
As well as the white.
I mean, this is actually a slightly annoying position for Shane Thompson because he's going to have to take reds, but the reds are kind of in the middle of this cluster. So, well, now that is a very good result indeed. He's potted 1 of each, so gives himself the option.
Just got he's nominated yellows.
Yeah, now you see he potted a red there, and reds weren't really the best colour, but he had to, whereas that's actually the dream result. He's now able to take yellows. Oh, you'd have to say Nishant will only have himself to blame after that break. The poor split may not entirely have been down to him, but the loss of control of the white was disappointing. You've only got the 1 break in the tournament. I'm sure he wouldn't do that if he had 10 goes at it, but just that 1 bad result will stick in his mind if he does lose this frame.
To be fair, as soon as he actually went in off, the fact that the balls broke badly should have worked in his favour. So Shane's just got these 4 yellows to contend and then pot the black, and England have managed a comfortable 8-3 win against India. He's just going to do a soft screw, leave himself a plant with the 2 yellows on the cushion. Left himself a little angle, which is perfect because he'll need to get back up the table for the black. Played that well. So should he finish these 2 balls, stay tuned because we're going to try and interview a few of the players after this. Ideally, would have wanted to get a little bit further on this one, but I fully expect Shane to just drop this in. The fact he's slightly Chinese makes it that little bit harder. And there we go. Well played, England. So that's an 8-3 victory. They go into the final, where they'll play the winners of Scotland versus Ireland. And stay tuned for any interviews.
Great semi-final between 2 great teams. Let's have a big round of applause for the runners-up, Team India. Let's just grab a word, Lee, if we can, with the the winning captain. So, yet another final. The disappointment, of course, last year against Australia. What does it mean to get back to the final?
It's important, but I think first of all we need to congratulate India to getting to the semi-finals. A great team, and they had us under pressure. So well done to India to getting to the semis. So.
Absolutely, and it's been a really entertaining performance from India all week.
Yeah, I mean they're a good team. I think a couple of frames in the first session we stole off them, and Ben won a massive frame just before the interval. So we got out the first session 5-2. We were quite lucky to get there, but second session we were strong.
Your own team, I know there's been some speculation this is perhaps the best England team of maybe the last 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, we're a strong team, and it's hard to drop players, and there's got 10 players in the squad, and we are a strong team, and whoever we put out there, we'll try and get the job done. So I'm confident in whoever plays, we're good enough, and hopefully it'll be all year.
Well done, Lee. Best of luck tomorrow. Big round of applause. Team England.